Good morning, it's Brian of Brian's Budget Bonsai, and I haven't seen you guys in a while. It's been almost 2 weeks since my last video. Been very busy at work, and also any spare time I've had, it's been spent watering, because until today, we haven't had rain in about almost a month and a half. Temperatures near 90, no rain, so I've pretty much just been watering, trying to keep things alive in my spare time that I have. So we're finally getting some rain. The next couple of days we're supposed to have this kind of like, light on and off rain, so hopefully this is going to be more helpful than the last couple weeks. So I'm going to give you a real quick damage report from the last couple of weeks of what's happened because of this little drought that we had. Even with the watering, some things did not make it, and then I'm going to see if I can find something that we can kind of prune up. It's one thing I didn't want to stress anything out before we had rain. So now we've got a little rain. I might prune something up here. First casualty of our little drought was this maple. It was looking really good most of the summer, and then it seemed like overnight all the leaves went brown. I don't think that this is the fall colors, because really nothing else is changing yet. So yeah, I might just defoliate all of this and just keep my fingers crossed that it buds out next year. I don't think it's going to put out any new growth. It is, after all, officially fall now. And even though we usually don't get our leaf changing until late October, early November, I don't think we're going to have it. This thing's going to have enough energy to put out new growth before it has to shut everything down for the winter. Here's another one of my kind of disappointments here. This was the Chinese elm. That was the root cutting that I've been trying to straighten the trunk out a bit, and it had been doing really well this year. I mean, pretty much everything from here up was growth that happened this year, because it was basically just this root cutting with a few little twiggy little growth that was coming out of here. So all of this happened this year, and then same thing. I was one day looking good, the next day it's like, hey, some of these leaves are starting to turn brown. The day after that, everything was brown. So don't know what happened. This area gets pretty good rain, pretty good irrigation, good draining soil. So I don't know, underwatered, overwatered, pests. I didn't see anything that looked like it was like spider mites or anything else that might have been like that. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Yeah, these are all just falling off. Keeping my fingers crossed that this will be okay. On a positive note, look at all the new growth we have on the snowball verbanium. It's even going to put out flowers. So yeah, I thought this one was a goner. Actually, this has just happened through the last few days, actually. Last time I looked at this, there was nothing on here. This is that hydrangea that I pruned back, and it hadn't done much. And now it's got new buds in a lot of different places, even all the way up to there. Not at all the tips, but at some of the tips. So that's looking pretty good. One of the things that kind of all of a sudden defoliated itself, but obviously it's got some life in it still. It's got some green in it. This is one of my willow leaf oaks. They're very common in this area here, and I find them as seedlings all the time. So, thank you, the squirrel population around here. Yeah, you can see this one's got some wire marks. This was originally grown in the ground and wired to get some trunk movement, but when they grow in the ground, they grow rapidly and left some wire scars. But yeah, this one was doing pretty good. And then just up and decided, you know what, all my leaves are going to turn brown overnight and drop. I'm optimistic about that one because of how well this one is doing. This one did the same thing last year, where it dropped all of its leaves near fall, and I thought for sure it was dead. And it came back in the spring, and I've just left it to grow and regain some of its strength. This actually was I had air layered off of here. The air layers, I tried to air layer this thing twice. The air layers took, but the air layers, once they were potted up, died. So this is basically the original base. This was originally a straighter trunk. Got a trunk chop here, and this is all new growth. It is thickening up nicely, and again, I'm just going to let this thing kind of grow as much as it can because it was stressed out last fall. So I'm hoping that the other willow leaf oak will do just as well. A couple other willow leaf oaks that are doing okay. My azalea is doing all right. The sweet gum also doing well. Set out a new leader. That's doing pretty good. As well as my 2 maple forests. And even though I was worried a little bit that the tree that is winding through the trunk, through the cab of the truck was not going to make it, but it does have new growth on it. Again, how much its energy that's going to get before before it ends up dropping all its leaves for the fall, I don't know. He's had really nice yellow leaves, fall color last fall, so hoping that it'll do well again this year. So what we're going to work on today, a couple things might be a possibility. I think I'm going to work on my Sizzlin Pink Fringe Flower. I worked on this once already this year. Sorry, finger in the camera. I worked on this once already this year, and it's just put out a ton of new growth. Again, this is more of a bush species, so it's going to do this. You're going to trim it back, and it's going to flush out, and you're going to trim it back, it's going to flush out. So I think that this one's probably going to be our project for today. Okay, so here is up on the bench. You can see we've got lots of vigorous growth. Again, in case you were have forgotten, this is the species that we're dealing with in the variety. Sizzling Pink Fringe Flower. Yeah, I'm going to let you read that rather than me try to pronounce my Latin stuff. So, what we got here. All right, so vigorous growth. Again, I think we were going with this part being the leader and this being the front. I think that's what we were going with. It's really hard to kind of see in this stage. It is a big blob here. You can see the actual size of it. And again, I'm going to probably bring this down to about 1/4 of the volume of this. I can see right here we've got crisscrossing branches everywhere. In the past, I went with the prune, the profile prune, and with the shears, and then went in there with a little bit more precision cutting and pruning. I think I'm going to go right with the selective pruning right from the start, just because I don't want to trim it back too far accidentally. So I'm going to be a little bit more selective here. We're just going to pick a place to start and start going at it. Okay, so I think I wanted the open front concept behind here, with this kind of being the front. Again, hard to see through all this clutter. So the first thing is kind of open this area up a little bit. Find out, see if we can still see our original front there, and just start cutting back to the next set of 2 leaves here. See how far back we can get. Yeah, I tried a couple different, basically kind of like video styles or approaches the last couple videos, where I time-lapsed it, and another one where I just kind of edited and sped up in editing repetitive things, and asked for a little input. And the input I got was like, the time-lapse thing really didn't do it for them, because they're kind of missing all the ideas, what we're trying to do, which I can understand. We're trying to learn things, right? Okay, so this is a good idea right here. Let me bring you in a little closer, see if you can see what I see here. Right here, got my branching here looking pretty flat, except for this guy going straight up, so we're going to take that guy off. Same thing back here. That's going towards the center, and that's kind of growing towards that other branch. If I like where the branch is growing, I'll just cut it back. If I don't like where the branch is growing, I'm going to cut it off. And this particular variety is vigorous enough in its growing that pretty much whatever I do to it, it's going to then give me more options. So let me just continue to kind of bring this back into a more tamed position here. Some of this growth is very vigorous. Some of it is a little bit more fine branching, while others, like these long shoots up here, they thickened up pretty quickly. Little spiders everywhere, here and there. Mostly just trying to find the second leaf on each branch and cutting it back. That way, hopefully, we'll get a splitting from 1 branch to 2. If we can find a branch, if that happens to be a branch, like a leaf that's pointing in a direction we like, obviously not towards the center, hopefully towards the middle of the, towards the outside. Sometimes they're just not growing in the direction you want. But we can afford to be a little picky here, as this will always put out more growth. This is a very vigorous plant, obviously, and it doesn't seem to mind having its pot in a small, its roots in a small pot. Oop, that one broke off. Let's see. Again, upward growth we don't want. Crossing growth we don't want. Growth towards the center, or running into another branch we don't want. So you're already starting to see some definition of the pads here. We got this one right here, nice little pad here, nice little pad here. So hopefully that will continue to define. A couple dead leaves in there. Okay, this is an interesting thing here. Got one branch coming over here. This one's kind of curving up. crossing over that one. We don't want these branches to cross. Question is, what do we keep? What do we get rid of? Let me just trim things back here a little bit. See if we can see what's going on in there. Now, can you see that here? There we go. Give me a good background on that between those branches. All right, that looks good. Okay. See, we've got this one here growing up, crossing over, this one going out, and these are intersecting right here. Both of these are kind of thicker growth. We could definitely cut things back to get more ramification, or I shouldn't say ramification, but maybe more taper. Taper is what I was going for. We like ramification, but we don't like thick branches out at the end. So I could probably think, so this is growing up and crossing and thick. I think the idea is remove that. All right, now, so that solves our crossing branch problem, but now we've got also parallel branches here where they're kind of taking up the same space. I think my idea of getting rid of that vertical growth, this is a little more vertical and a little further back. I think I like the idea of, we're just going to remove this whole branch there. And let's see, we may even favor some of the more downward growth on some of these other ones here too. Cut all of these back a bit. Okay, that one's growing towards the center. We don't want that at all. Okay, so that defines that pad a little bit better. We're getting some interference between this branch and this branch, but they're all kind of the same. They're coming from the same branch, so they can be considered the same pad. These need to be trimmed back anyway. So I think I'm going to leave that. Well, maybe one more. Get one more vertical growth here. We don't want like that. Trying to get that lateral growth, defining this area here as its own little space. Okay. Moving on here. Clear out some of the dead leaves in there. Let's see. There's a branch here. Like this one right here. It's coming off from pretty far back. And I don't know if I want it or not. Let's see. Again, let's start by just cutting back some of the longer growth, and then we can kind of figure out what we want to keep once we look at that branch structure. I don't think I want to keep this one here. Let me get a little closer in. That was kind of left a little bit too much of a stub. And again, we're seeing some interference between these branches here. I could actually cut back this one here, opening up a little more space in here, and then cut back this here, again, further defining a little more space, and then just shortening this branch altogether. This has got a branch that's growing on the downside. We may end up keeping that. I think it's kind of a long straight run here, which just branches out at the tip. This was the last prune here. Got a long growth, though I do see leaf buds here, 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 and here. So this could be cut back a little more, maybe back to here, and then see if we get more branching coming from there. All right. This one's growing back towards the center. Getting some interference between these two branches. Let's see, just cut that back for there. We're still interfering with each other. Over from this one. Just gonna take this one because it's on the top. There we go. I like that. I like that. There we go. So it's got a little bit, I'm gonna cut this one back a little bit, see if I can get, because it was kind of long and straight with not any division on it. So just gonna try to see if we can cut that back, see if we can get something to grow a little further there. But I'm kind of, ooh, sorry, that was out of frame. Ew, I gotta keep checking my frame here. Yeah, I just made this branch a little more defined by, again, cutting off the vertical growth, trying to make sure it wasn't encroaching upon its neighbors. And so we got a nice branch structure on that. Do that from this angle there. Okay, so now we're going to look at this branch here. So first thing is, get rid of anything that's growing into its neighbor's territory or going straight up. That's growing straight up. It's a goner. Sometimes you just have to go, go ahead and get some of the ones that are from above. Clear that space for now. And I kind of like slipping in the paper towel in there. Kind of give you an idea what we're trying to do with that branch there. I'm going to cut this one all the way back here because it's got a nice branch going in that direction. I want to encourage it. Big old red leaf there. Let's get that out of the way. We might even go back further with this one. I'm going to take this whole longer branch off. Let's see. I might even go back further with this. Oh, this is kind of like a straight branch, comes back from all the way over here and lays on top of the other branch. I'm taking that whole thing off. And again, we're going to try to see if we can go, let me see what we're going for on this one. This branch is like that. That's what we're going for with this branch here. You can see that now. This is growing on the top and crossing over, so we're going to see if we can get that off. Trim it back to this one, a little pruning stub, get rid of that. See if we can get more growth in that direction. Again, this right here is two branches on top of each other. You can see it better from that angle. We've got basically two branches on top of each other. I think I'm going, this one's got a little better ramification. This one's a little flatter. It's a question of which one do we keep. This one's a little thicker, this one's a little thinner. I think, well, first of all, I think I'm going to just take this off right here. That might be enough. Taking that off, encouraging this branch and this branch to kind of grow, to fill the space. If I took that off, there'd be too big of a space, I think, between those two. Okay. Got another one's growing back by the trunk. We don't want that. We don't want that. Oh, there's a sucker here. We can take that off and that off. Okay. We're making our way around the tree here. Okay. Next branch, this one right here. Anything that's clearly sticking up in the air, we're going to get rid of. Oop, that's actually a different branch. Yeah, sometimes when it gets this big, it's hard to tell the difference between the two of them. These might, and they run into each other. And you can't tell where one branch starts and the other one stops. So something vigorous like this is a good idea to prune regularly, probably, just so that we don't have that confusion. See if I can get each of these secondary branches coming off of the primary branch to be a little more defined in their own space. That's growing up, don't want that. These are kind of inside of the curve, or way down in the junction between branches. That one's going straight down. Okay. I see a chance to improve some taper with this cut here. Again, also separating these things and going into it from a thicker to a thinner on there here. It's pretty much the same thickness all the way through here. I could cut this off at this point here, and again, just encourage that more horizontal growth. This kind of grows up on top here, so not exact vertical, but I think that having that thicker branch in there is still not something that I want. So I'm going to go in there and just going to cut away that. There we go. Cut back. You know what? I might remove that one too. Just to kind of encourage this branch to kind of go in this direction, stay away from its neighbor there. I'll be able to leaf down there. We're going to get that off. Cut that back for taper. Okay, it's a little I'm going to cut that back even further. It's a little vertical. And again, I'm going to try and encourage this branch now. This one's growing right towards the other branch and kind of on the inside of a curve. Okay, so we have taken that branch from that big that mess down to something like this. Let me see if we tip it just a little bit so you can see that that's now our branch structure on that one. So might even take that one back a little bit. These are kind of converging, so I might want to see if I can get them to diverge a little bit. Okay, I think we have taken care of first tier branching on this one. Let's move up to getting closer to the crown. Let's see. I think I'm going to definitely take off this whole branch here. That was growing up, and let's see, just cut back a few of these right now. We might use them, we might not, but I gotta see what I'm doing. Can't see what I'm doing when it's just a bunch of clutter. Okay, this is a little smaller of a branch. Get that out of the way. We don't want that. It's growing from off the trunk, cluttering the inside there. Okay, it's a little smaller of a branch here. So there's not as much to do with this one here. Definitely cut back here. Again, just flattening that out. Dead leaf in there. Maybe even cut back this one all the way. Just leaving this flat pad here as it is. Okay. Next, got this one here. Interestingly enough, we got something that looks like a little berry or something like that. Don't usually see any type of fruiting bodies on this. So actually that just one little cut there defined this branch nicely. So let me just give a little haircut, prune it back a little bit on there. Yeah, that ought to do for that part. Again, that's just the lower branch coming off of the primary. Let's see, I'm going to starting to get into some thicker branches. Again, my thing I said I was going to do is cut back all the long growth first and then figure out where I'm going from there. So let's stick to the plan. Don't get distracted. Distractibility. What are the odds, huh? What are the odds that I'm distractible? Okay, this one's coming off of actually this one's coming off of like this one trunk line here, but again it's growing up into there, and I think I'm going to take it off right here. Maybe go back a little further eventually. Clear that out. I don't think we need that right there. It's kind of growing. You got these ones crisscrossing in terms of like, we're going to keep either this or this. I think this one being thinner, a little higher up, going over here, not necessarily crossing the trunk line, but again, going to fill in the canopy over here. This one a little thicker. I think I'm going to take that one off. There we go. And then trim this one back. These two running parallel. This one's thicker, this one's thinner. We want to start tapering. So get rid of that one. And then we might be able to just cut that back to there. Get the leaf out of there. What are we gonna do with you? Let's just cut you back for now. Maybe I keep that, maybe I don't. I don't know. It's looking a little more, this one's looking a little more awkward. I don't know, maybe we keep it, maybe we don't. That could be a decision left for another day. Unless you're really, really positive, and there's nothing wrong with saying, you know what, I can cut it off later. I can't put it back on. So, yeah, you have to be thoughtful. I'm going to go back one more branching on that one. And let's see, cut that back there. Okay, so that's what we're left with, that branch. I think I'm going to leave that one alone. I am trying to see, again, not worry too much about this whole vertical growth, because this is starting to get closer to the top. So we are going to see a little more vertical growth in there. And I'm going to also, of course, obviously separate this into a lateral growth. May bring this up into a, again, this is a more of a broom style. So you are going to have more than one trunk contributing to the, the crown. Okay, we're back now. We were working on this branch here, I believe. And again, to get some differentiation between it, it is, this branch right here. that we were working on. Again, I'm going to allow some with more vertical because we're getting close to the apex. Got one horizontal and a couple verticals. However, we take this away, we see that we've got things interfering pretty immediately with the branches above it. So I'm going to cut back on these branches here. See if we can get some separation. I'm not quite sure. You know what? I'm thinking, now that I look at it, this branch here, if this is going to be my apex, we're looking at this from the front. This is going to be the leader, this is going to be the crown. I probably want to bring this one down a little bit more than I originally thought. Let me try taking this down off of here. I think that's better. And then shortening this up right to maybe like here. I think that's better in the long run. That's kind of interfering with each other. Okay. If this is the front, we've got main trunk line coming up this way, coming towards us here. I think I'm going to take off most of this right here. I think that helps a lot. And let's see, crossing branch here. Going towards the center here. Things back a bit just to clarify what I'm looking at so I don't have too much clutter. Again, we look from the front. Previous pruning. Let's see, take that off. I think I might take off this right here. Give that a little less clutter there, allowing for the smaller branches. Okay, still taking off branches that are interfering with each other. Trying to separate things a bit from each level, each plane of the tree. See a little bit better from this side. Let's see, we got some, those branches are crossing. Let's see, I'm going to take this off to here. There we go. Separating that into just those two branches. Cut that one off, give some space. Okay, that's not looking too bad. This is kind of a thick branch here. Let's see if we can give you guys a better view of that. Right here, got kind of a thicker branch here. Again, this is getting near the top, so we do want to favor smaller branches when we can. Now improve that taper, but also to avoid getting really heavy branches at the top and thin branches at the top. We really want the thicker branches lower down, and getting things progressively finer as we go up. That's not bad. That's not bad right now. Let me cut this back just a wee bit. Get that out of there. I don't think I need this right there. That's just kind of clouding the trunk line. Just cleaning up a few things you might miss the first go around. Okay. Take that one off, I think, too. Again, on the underside of the branch and crowding off the trunk line. Okay. I think I am done with this one. Turn it around. See that? I think I'm still going with this being the front, kind of open and inviting in that area there, as well as the apex coming towards the viewer. Got some nice branches to the left, to the right, back branch there. I think that fills it in. That's pretty nice right there. I'm going to stick with that. All right, so now this has been growing in essentially a plastic oil pan, dollar store oil pan for the last couple of years. It seems to be doing real well. Might repot it into something ceramic next year. I've got a couple choices. One of the pots I might decide to use to put this in is this pot here. This is the pot I bought at the bonsai show last February by a potter, Preston Tolbert. Missed an opportunity to work with him on our bonsai club. He was actually doing some potting seminar, actually pottery seminar, I should say, with our bonsai club. I was out of town. I was really bummed I wasn't going to be around for that one. So this might be the pot I choose for this. So this might be what I'm looking forward in the future for this having a little bit more of a stylish, more permanent home. Seems to grow really nicely. And so I might finally decide to put that, find something for this pot. I think I've told you in the past, I've been kind of chicken to put anything in this nice pot because you never think you got something nice enough for something like this, which is why most of my stuff is in thrift store find pots that I have drilled holes in the bottom. But this is getting pretty good. I like this. It's been doing real well this year. So maybe we'll treat it to a very nice official bonsai pot come next spring. But it can live in this through the winter. Made it through the last couple winters in it. Okay, everybody, that's it for now. Thank you for joining me. If you like this, please hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll hopefully be able to put out some more videos more frequently than I have in the last couple weeks. And in the meantime, y'all stay cool and happy bonsai.